WNST Jones, who's piling on. Luke, you introduce this next man because I know he's one of your personal favorites, and you don't have a lot of favorites from Pittsburgh.
Well, much hated. That Steelers quarterback who always beats the Ravens in Baltimore. In fact, the last Steelers
I was glad
quarterback
when he retired this guy
to beat the Ravens in Baltimore.
Make him go away.
It is the great Charlie Batch.
Hey, how's everything?
Batchfoundation.org. I've seen your work. I know about your family. I mean, you should have been a Raven for a little while. You know, we could have evened things out.
I do have the colors on right now. I mean,
is that LSU?
He is
what
wearing
is that?
purple.
Why
Yeah,
are you
that
wearing
is purple.
Purple's a color of royalty.
I was saving the best for last.
Well, next year we're going to be in Minnesota. It's all Prince. It's all purple next year. They got nothing to do, right?
This is it. You're saving the best for. I did a wardrobe change coming over here so I can be on this show.
Well, you look good.
Well, thank you, sir.
So, no, I don't see a Steeler logo anywhere. It makes me think better thoughts about you. I saw you on Christmas night. We all spent. I was saying, Mr. Rooney bought us dinner on Christmas night up there at Heinz Field, and I saw you going through the buffet before the game, and the game breaks out, and it really is amazing. Doesn't matter who's in the game, doesn't matter what the jerseys are, that this thing has become Hatfields and McCoys, right? Even you at the end as a backup coming in, winning game. Ryan Mallett beats the Steelers last year, and this year we got the slap in the face on the arm out, arm back. It was an unbelievable thing because Tomlin would have been fried had you sat on the ball the 1 foot and lost the game. I mean, that's what would have happened had the arm. I mean, that's razor thin. And then the Steelers, didn't look good in the AFC Championship game, but got there, certainly had a chance to be here this time.
Absolutely. I think the thing that stands out in that game, and everybody, of course, you'll remember the arm being tucked over the goal line with Antonio. Before, as the play is developing, if you go back and watch that, and I said it immediately after the game, I said, two veterans jockeying, knowing what each other is doing. Suggs, Roethlisberger. If you watch Suggs on that play, he doesn't rush because he realizes Ben is about to throw the ball quickly and he backs the football down. If he gets his hand on the ball, the Ravens may intercept it. But because Ben realizes that Suggs is going to do what he did, he pumps fakes, gets Suggs in the air, and hits it in the next window. That is how the play is even caught before Antonio stretches the ball over the field. People were just like, wow, how did you see that? I said, because Suggs has made that play many a day and tipped the pass and even intercepted it himself.
And Suggs has watched film and Ben has watched film.
Absolutely. They both know each other on
film. They've looked at each other for 13 years.
You know what each other is going to do. And on that play, both of them are reading each other. It's like they're both looking at each other's eyes and he's throwing it. But so when you go back and watch that play and pull that play up, watch those two.
It's amazing with Suggs when I think about, not my favorite Raven of all time. I've been on the record of saying that because I've dealt with him. But, over the last 14 years, Suggs has played in 30-some games against the Steelers now. Maybe he missed one or two somewhere, but he hasn't been hurt much last couple years.
Yeah.
But Suggs has played an incredible, almost 2 full seasons worth of football games against the Steelers.
Right.
And Ben ditto. Ben's been hurt a bunch, which gave you an opportunity. But going back to Tommy Maddox and through it, just how many times Ray Lewis walked on the field and saw Hines Ward,
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And when you look at the way these two teams are built, they're built off of each other. If the Ravens draft a linebacker, chances are the Steelers are drafting a linebacker. They're built very similar.
On draft day, you're looking to that can play in Pittsburgh in December. I remember the size of Joe Flacco's hands were a big story about not fumbling a football in bad weather because we need to be built for bad weather because we're going to go to Pittsburgh.
And this is one of the things, even a lot of fans in Pittsburgh are saying, wait a minute, we need to build our team to beat the Patriots. And I'm like, no. You don't even get to the Patriots if you don't beat the Ravens in the division. So you have to build your team to beat the Ravens. And that's exactly what both teams are trying to do because they want that home playoff game. You have to have the home playoff game to really get to that point of having any, and of course it can be done, but it helps you with your success if you're able to start your playoff run at home versus on the road.
Here's Charlie Batch. I'm sorry, joining us here on Radio Row. Luke, go ahead.
No, it's funny that you mentioned that, and I'll throw Cincinnati in there. Recently, they haven't had the playoff success, but
if you think of it, you would, I wouldn't.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, but Pittsburgh has owned Cincinnati in recent years.
Correct.
Cincinnati has owned the Ravens in recent years.
Okay,
and
that's a fair
until Christmas Day,
Yeah.
the Ravens have had much more recent success against the Steelers than they did in the past. So it's just, you saying that it really struck me as just how amazing this division has been the last few years, at least in the regular season.
Right.
Cincinnati, we know that they've completely fallen apart when they get to the postseason. But it does speak to, as much as everyone talks about New England, you do have to take that first step.
You do, because even 2 years ago, the Steelers beat the Ravens for the division. The Ravens come to Pittsburgh, and of course, the week before, they're all wearing their shirts that says the Steelers run the AFC North.
Right.
And I'm immediately on the radio, and I said, after the Ravens beat them in Pittsburgh in the playoffs, I said, you can throw that shirt out the window. Throw it away, because you can't say you run the North if you lose to a division foe in the playoffs. Sure. And that's what happened 2 years ago. So they knew coming in here, they have to figure out a way to dominate if they can with the Ravens. Unfortunately, other people knocked off the Ravens. They were all they needed was that home game. But ultimately, when the Steelers are preparing to beat the Baltimore Ravens for the division, and that's all that matters at that point. But that's what they're focusing on.
All these years into this, we come here. Look, Luke will dispute this. I was rooting for the Steelers last week against Patriots because that's how much I dislike the Patriots now. He's still a traditionalist. They're the Steelers. F them. We never want them to win, ever.
With all due respect.
But we don't say that on the other side, because I sat here many years ago and you asked me who was going to win a Super Bowl over the 49ers. I said the Ravens are going to win. So I was picking them, and I was, at that point I was still active.
But rooting for them or against the place they've put themselves in the axis of evil, it really is America against the Patriots this week. But you did this for a long time. This is an incredible thing that we're witnessing here. I mean, you know how hard it is to win once, to go 10-6 1 year, and to win one playoff game one time. What they've done over the 17 years with Belichick and Brady together at 39 years of age, they're rewriting football history right now.
Absolutely, it's remarkable. And when you see everything that's happening, and when I look at just this game, I'm like, yeah, I want Matt to win his first because I want everybody to experience what that feels like. But on the flip side, I'm like, I want to witness history. I want to see Tom and Belichick go out here and do something that has never been done, which was win 5 titles. That's phenomenal. And on the flip side, I'm like, wow, how come I can't drink from the fountain of youth like Tom Brady has and playing as great as he's playing at that age?
I mean, if I would have told you 20 years ago that he would still be doing this, and not just like hanging on the way Peyton was, but like we're looking at it and I'm like, all right, Minnesota next year, then Atlanta. I would be shocked. I think he'll play 3 more, and I'll be shocked if 1 out of those 3, all due respect to Ben or Flacco or anybody else. I mean, Andrew Luck, the next 3 years, if you gave me $1 right now and say, bet it on the Patriots getting back here or not, at this point, I'd have to say they'll do it again, probably.
And
maybe.
I'm sure the odds makers will think the exact same thing. But when you have Tom is getting the football out of his hands, he's not even getting hit. You watched that Steeler game. There were 2 credited sacks. One was okay. The other one was, I think he didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. But it's just the fact he's getting the ball out so fast, he's not taking those hits. And the only hit that he took in that game was at the end of the ball game when they were trying to score 40 points against the Steelers. They were trying to score 40, and he took a sack at the end of that game when he shouldn't. That was the only true hit that he really felt.
I think Hargrave hit him early. First series.
But he turtled in that one.
Yeah.
He did he turtled up.
Yes.
And I thought, don't see that often, but I saw Peyton Manning doing it, and I'm like, that's a good idea. Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad idea in the AFC Championship game in the first quarter to say, I'll take a knee. I don't want you plowing into me. I'll just go down. And I'm surprised more quarterbacks don't give themselves up the way you do when you're running for it. You have no problem hook sliding in,
Absolutely.
Right?
I totally agree with you. And I think if he has that same formula where he's not getting hit anymore, why wouldn't he play 3 years? And I don't think nothing's suggesting that he can't play 3 years at this point. It's just, man, this is an opportunity, man. He can really, if he wins 5, we may sit here next year in Minnesota talking about the Patriots again.
As far as the Steelers losing the way they did in the AFC Championship game, look, we all want to win. We all want to measure ourselves against the best. The Ravens lost to all sorts of teams this year, including Pittsburgh in December, New England in early December. We talked about the Giants, had Bob Papa here earlier, and the Jets. They lost a bunch of different games. They were all, a touchdown, a field goal. You could say one play, one penalty, and all that stuff. I thought the Steelers were going to give the Patriots a better game than that. And I'd certainly, looking back, if you're Mike Tomlin, if you're Ben, the frustration because they kind of got run out of the gym. They kind of got embarrassed defensively in the zone. I was shocked that the Patriots made it look that easy in the championship game.
That's true. They did. And in the second half, it really got out of control. But the key was Le'Veon going out early.
Oh,
sure.
That whole
Completely
game plan changed the game. I mean, they're just from a running scheme. because of the patience that he has, D'Angelo comes in the game and he's hitting it right away, and he didn't even allow the play to develop. It's just everything was geared around him. And, of course, when you're preparing, you're saying, okay, we're going to take Le'Veon out anyway, or at least out of the game plan. When he gets hurt, you're like, great, for us. And that's exactly – the Patriots shifted all their focus to Antonio, and they were able to get it and really allow that game to get out of control. But remember, the opening series of the third quarter, it was a one-possession ball game at the half. So the Steelers went 3 and out, and that changed the whole dynamic. If the Steelers could get points in that drive, who knows what happens. But when they go 3 and out and now give the Patriots good field position coming back, that just
1 yard line.
Now you hope you're not a free agent. you hope that you're not a veteran guy that just kind of played okay and get next out, because now it allows them to really start talking about and evaluating what's going to happen for next year. So, and the owner, Mr. Rooney, comes out and says, listen, we need better help in our secondary and we need a pass rusher. So if he comes out
in the future, you putting any?
No, I think there's some value to that. And I think when you look, but you're 35 years old, he's 13 years in the league. He got sacked 500 times, and then probably 400 of those came with the Ravens. but when you look at those, I mean, your body is really breaking down. And for him, he probably woke up, and here you are 48 hours afterward, and you're doing a press conference, and somebody's asking you about next year. And you're like, whoa, maybe there is no next year. So, yeah, I think that's where the moment was caught. Do I think he reevaluates it? Yes. Do I think he comes back? Yes. But I do now think, especially the way that Mike Tomlin said in his press conference, they said, Mike, what do you think about that? He said, well, it's not the first time that we talked about it. So they're already talking and having that conversation on how long Ben can play, which you hope is that there's a session plan that comes in place to say, okay, Ben, how long do you really have? If you do it 2 more years, we could plan. I just don't think he leaves now with nothing there. Now, how do you approach free agency with Landry Jones is the question. Landry's been there for 4 years, know the system. If you really think Ben is retiring, now they're aggressive with Landry Jones to make sure he doesn't leave and even hit the free agent market. So I think that kind of would play itself out, and that will give me an indication on what the Steelers are thinking, at least from the backup position.
Here's Charlie Batch. The website is batchfoundation.org. You can learn all the incredible things. What are you doing? I mean, you're doing lots of good stuff, but what fills your days?
Well, my foundation fills the days. That's number one. We service, we are now 16 years. We service over 3,800 kids annually through 6 different counties in the Pittsburgh area. So that's number one. I really love what we're doing there. That's batchfoundation.org. Number 2 is a startup tech company, which is called Impelia, which actually we are a data analytics company, and we focus on the business of sports. And we are helping multiple universities. We actually have a major announcement that happened yesterday, which we just partnered with the University of Michigan, which we are actually working with all of their athletics. So that's a big announcement for us.
Get Jim Harbaugh in on that?
Yeah, so we're excited about that. So that's huge for us. So you can go to impelia.co to learn more information about that. But more important, the third thing that I'm doing is working with the NFL Players Association in the trust. It's called the Players Trust, powered by the NFLPA, and it helps former players transition away from the game, whatever that looks like for players, whether that's going back to school, whether that's changing careers, whether that's just getting evaluated from a brain and body perspective. It's just helping players help transition away from the game. And, there are 2,700 players already have utilized the services that are there. We're looking to encourage and get more guys to come out and really be more involved, more interactive with the Players Trust, because we know there's a service that's needed. We know that we're going to continue to negotiate that into the next upcoming CBA. So we're just trying to continue to get that message out there. And if you know any players that are out there, that former players that may need some type of service, tell them and direct them to go to playerstrust.com.
Give this kid a chance to beat Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, or, evaluating the game. It's certainly been a hell of a season. The Falcons are a mystery to a lot of people. For most fans, you've just really started watching them play and focusing on them the last couple of weeks.
Right. And one thing, Atlanta has done what they're going to do. For me, last year, the one thing that stood out, and I walked media row with Matt Ryan, and I remember looking at him, and he's kind of smiling and he's frustrated at the same time, and I'm like, you must be tired from media row, right? They're really kicking your butt. And he's like, no, I'm freaking ticked off because I want to be in this game, not at media row. And now here we are, fast forward a year later, and he's in the game. So I'm just like, wow, here he is. You saw the passion that he had. He wants to help and take that franchise to where it's never been. Yeah, they've been to a Super Bowl, but they haven't won. They want to celebrate that victory And if he can get to that point, man, now you're talking about putting him into that next tier people don't put him in the next tier right now because he hasn't won the Super Bowl. But if he can win that Super Bowl, this is his chance. And if he can knock off the greatest in the Super Bowl, not the greatest at the end of his career where he's way past his prime. No, we're talking about somebody who's still in their prime. Man, what a great story to tell if Matt Ryan can pull this off.
I wish I were in my prime at 39. How about you?
So do I.
Charlie Batch in Pittsburgh, batchfoundation.org. He does good work, even though it's for people in Pittsburgh.
And I'll say this.
Next year.
I hope
between Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Good man, Charlie Batch. We'll step out. We'll take a break. We're here at Super Bowl Radio Row, Super Bowl 51 in Houston at the George R. Brown Convention Center. You can find any of our missing work in the Bahia Toyota Audio Vault at WNST.net. I'm Nestor. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. The London trip's still on sale. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports. You making faces behind me?